Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I would ask that if you have questions, please just jot them in the chat and we will address them during our question and answer period. Before I introduce our regional directors and before I turn most of the meeting over to Mel Martin, our campaign coordinator, I'd like to share a few thoughts, put this evening in context. Back in 2012, the Pennsylvania legislature passed and its governor signed into law Act 13. This law forced all municipalities in the state to allow fracking companies to frack virtually anywhere they wanted to within municipal boundaries, in schools, in playgrounds, in parks, in wildlife sanctuaries, in churches. It also came with a gag order. Doctors were not allowed to talk publicly about the health impacts they were seeing from fracking in their patients. Doctors weren't even allowed to talk to other doctors about what they were seeing and to compare notes. And the health consequences were considerable. One famous case was the focus of a 2017 Pulitzer Prize winning book, Amity and Prosperity. And it focuses on Stacey Haynes. She's a single working mom who lived next door to a neighbor who had a frack pond. She watched her farm animals sicken and die. She got sick, her daughter got sick, her son got so sick he was absent from school for over a year, and eventually they had to move away from the farm that had been in their family for generations. Act 13 was written by the fracking industry. Many of the legislators who signed the bill never even read it. The governor had accepted $1.7 million in contributions. Needless to say, some municipalities did not take kindly to the law, and a few small, brave townships filed a lawsuit contesting the constitutionality of the law. And in 2013, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court sided with the townships. They said that fundamental provisions of Act 13 violated the Pennsylvania Constitution. And that is because, for a prime, very important aspect of that ruling had to do with the Pennsylvania Environmental Rights Amendment that 80% of Pennsylvanians had passed in 1972. This is the right that they gave themselves. The people have the right to clean air, pure water, and to the preservation of the natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. The majority of opinion, which was written by the Chief Justice, a conservative justice, was 165 pages long. He took a good long time documenting the history of environmental degradation in Pennsylvania. He gets around to saying it's not a historic accident that the Pennsylvania Constitution now places citizens' environmental rights on par with their political rights: right of free speech, right of freedom of religion, right to bear arms. Our Florida Constitution says this: it shall be the policy of the state to conserve and protect its natural resources. Adequate provision shall be made by law for the abatement of air and water pollution and for the conservation and protection of natural resources. That is a policy statement. It is not the declaration of a right. And I'd like to point out two recent Supreme Court cases that highlight just how essential explicitly stated rights are. Last year, the United States Supreme Court, in its Dobbs ruling, said because the U.S. Constitution does not directly identify a woman's right to bodily autonomy, which would include abortion, that right did not exist. And they overturned 50 years of established law and sent the nation into political convulsions. Up in New York, or regarding a new gun law in New York, they said it was constitutional because it violated the explicit right to bear arms in our Second Amendment. What will we in Florida do if, as many people expect, in an upcoming opinion, they change the definition of waters of the United States and open up millions of acres, certainly thousands in Florida, of wetlands to development? Do we go to our county commissions and ask them, please do not allow development on these wetlands? That does not work in Lee County. Maybe it works in your county. It certainly does not work in Lee County, where I live. If we had a right to clean and healthy waters in our state constitution, we would be able to protect our wetlands. What will we do in Southwest and Southeast Florida in the spring if, as many experts say, we suffer blue-green algae blooms as severe or if not worse than those that we suffered in 2018, 2019? Can we really expect meaningful action from a state government that didn't even, well, that initiated very, very few of the recommendations of its own blue-green algae task force? If we had this fundamental right to clean and healthy waters in our Constitution, we would be able to compel the state to take meaningful action. We need this amendment. Remember, the state didn't think that a rights-based approach to environmental protection would be effective. They would not have acted so swiftly to preempt the authority of local governments to pass rights of nature and any laws giving citizens any rights to any aspect of the natural world. The vision of this amendment and other green amendments is that they bring deep, enduring, systemic change. That's the vision. That's what we're shooting for here. And there isn't an organization represented on this call tonight whose mission would not be strengthened by this amendment. I believe, we all believe on our boards, that we can trigger a Supreme Court review with 223,000 signed petitions by March 1st. If we do that, we believe we can qualify the amendment for the 2024 ballot. And we are very confident that once we're on the ballot, Floridians will pass it overwhelmingly. There's that history of doing that. And we have passionate and committed right to clean water ambassadors. We were talking with some at the beginning of this call, and we have exciting things happening. Maya Van Rossum, who was instrumental in that Pennsylvania court case I was speaking about, is going to be doing a tour down here for 2 weeks in January in support of our amendment. But as committed as we are, as passionate as we are, we simply aren't big enough to accomplish this task. It is bigger than we are. We can, however, accomplish it with your help. And that is the purpose of tonight's meeting. We need your help, and we have an operational plan to share with you. So we show you how everything is going to work out and why this is within reach. So we need this amendment. It is doable, daunting but doable, and we need your help. Those 3 points are critical. So at this point, I would like to introduce our regional directors. Carl, would you introduce yourself?
Good evening, folks. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is a very important meeting. My name is Carl Dygert. I'm a captain by avocation, pharmacist by profession. I've been personally affected by these algae blooms. And if you really believe this, please go back and spread the word as much as you can. Finish the thumbs up without support is great, but we really need you to pound it to the public and ask your membership to join us in signing this petition. Thank you, folks.
Carl, what region are you director of?
I am the West Central, 10 counties, basically Pinellas, Hillsborough, Marion, Citrus, that area.
Got it. Thank you. Tiffany, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tiffany Grantham, and I'm in Southeast Florida, over here in Miami, and I'm in Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, all the way up through, I think it's maybe Martin, St. Lucie County, and then down into Monroe. Please give me a call. We can help. We can work together, and we can get this done if we're all doing it. Thanks so much. And thank you, Joe, for so much, and all of the rest of you for everything you've done.
I am the Regional Director for Southwest Florida. Mary, would you recognize yourself and tell us what region you oversee?
Yes, thanks, Joe. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. My name is Mary Gutierrez, and I am the representative for the Director rather, for the Northwest Florida area, which is also known as the Panhandle of Florida. We cover 16 counties up here from Escambia eastward to Leon County. I'm going to actually drop the link for the Florida Rights to Clean Water website so you can get additional information. And you'll know if you didn't capture everybody saying what area they're in, it's listed on the website for everybody. Okay, check.
Thank you. Jim, are you on the call?
Yeah, Joe. Hello, everyone. I have the East Central Regional Director. So I have Brevard, Indian River, Lake, Marion, Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and Volusia counties. So if you're in any of those areas, please get a hold of me and we can work together and get this done. So, you know, this is a huge effort. I think we're going to need 1,000 people working on this. And once we get to that critical mass, it'll be easy. So we just have to reach that. So thanks for being here tonight.
And lastly, the man in the shadows over there, David.
Yeah, hi, I'm David Moritz. I am the Regional Director for North Florida, which is from in Alachua County, but we go all the way over to Flagler County and over then to on the west to Dixie and Levy County, and then all the way to the Georgia border, all the way up into Nassau. Same as everyone else, we're just, you know, we're striving right now to just collect signatures, and not just to get signatures, but to also get other people to collect signatures. We need to build our force of signature collectors. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And now I want to introduce Mel Martin. Mel is the primary author of this terrific amendment. She is a retired Marine Corps judge advocate and environmental professor. She is also serving, she did run for a public office. She is serving as our campaign coordinator. Mel, take it away.
Thank you, Joe, and good evening to all of you. I'm sure you all have lots of good preliminary questions, and I hope you are okay with holding them until the very end. I'm going to share my screen and get through our presentation of our Unite for Clean Water effort. And what this is primarily an emphasis, let me make sure that this is working. It's a 3-month push during December, January, and February. And I'm sorry in advance, I am getting over a cold, but what this is jumping into the meat and potatoes of how we're going to be getting to our goals. We're coming into this presuming that you're familiar with the why, the dire need for this constitutional amendment, the basics of what it is and what it looks like. So now we're going to be looking at how we're going to get there. And tonight I'm going to explain the basic plan of where we are, where we need to go, how we're going to get there together through, supportive means and constant communications, and then finally, how we're going to be communicating with each other, and so that we are all up to date on the same sheet of music of how much more we need to go. So no one's going to be redundant, or there's no gaps going to be permitted, because we know exactly where we need to pretty much emphasize our resources and get to the target. This is really the main point of tonight, and as Joe had noted, that this is really about Floridians, like-minded Floridians who understand how important clean water is to Florida from an environmental sense, an economic sense, a personal, spiritual sense. Everyone who understands this basic point is invited to participate in what this is. And what this is that we are a vessel, pretty much, of ensuring that anyone who wants to participate in this action can and knows how to click in, knows how to help out however they can, and gets the reward at the end and understands what's going on the entire time. And it is true, we are putting our faith and trust in the fate of this initiative on our friends, the like-minded Floridians, who are able to just step out their door or stay inside and do something for this moment. So let's very quickly talk about the situation and basically when we look at the timeline of events and basic math, we are going to be ending up in November 30th of 2023, hopefully achieving our goal of at least 900,000, probably 1 million signatures by then, submitted and in with the supervisor of election offices in each county that they're processing and verifying, and we get to our goal. In order to get there, a couple things, when we work backwards, we have to do things like trigger Florida Supreme Court review and ensure that we are on a base, a reasonable march upward toward our end goal. So it's not so arbitrary, but it is an important benchmark that we identify March 1st as our 223,000 goal line that we can then celebrate, and that gets things rolling on an official basis. The Florida Supreme Court takes a look at it and we're off. We don't get to rest there unless we suddenly have millions and millions of dollars in our coffers, which at that point we can pay for paid petitioners to help with the shared load of gathering signatures. If that miracle doesn't happen, and we're working on it, we're still working on this, but just know that it's going to be kind of a long haul. There is a strong endpoint, and I'm hoping that we all do what we can until that point of relief arrives. So the 6 regions, when you break down 223, in actuality, when we have this roundup, it comes to 290, but each region will have their own goals based on their population. So you don't have to worry about the 223 so much as what is going on in your neck of the woods. And all of this information is available on our website. And when you see that, you go to each region, you also go down and see that each region has a breakdown of what each county has as a goal. And you'll see at the end, this is an example out of the Southwest for what counties have as their March 1st goal of collected signatures. Some counties have it easy, some counties not so easy. But the bottom line for this is you'll have an understanding of how each county is doing the entire time. So you don't waste your efforts staying in somewhere where there's plenty of signatures already collected, and right next to you, there's a big gap. So you'll know that if you do have another upcoming Saturday free, and then there's an opportunity for you to collect signatures, you can go to where it's needed. Okay, so that type of information will be updated and current, so you can ensure that you are investing your time and energy in where it's needed. Another point I wanted to make is that there's an overlay statutory requirement of congressional districts. What that map looks like, we're going off of the old map right now because that's what the Division of Elections has for us. But we're also acknowledging the fact that the new map is what is in play. So we're kind of in this little quandary here of which congressional district lines hold which county portions. So I don't want to bother you with that. It is something that we're going to keep an eye on. But the requirement that I was talking about is that at least 14 of those congressional districts have to meet the goal. So that means if for some reason we have we have counties out there that don't have a lot of activity, we couldn't find ambassadors to help out and whatever, that's okay. As long as we have enough ambassadors in the right places that help out with the congressional districts that get us to 14, everything's cool. So don't necessarily worry about what might not need to be a concern. So it is something that's on us. And if it's a concern for us, we'll let you know where the gaps are and where energy and resources might need to be shifted to. So that's the point of that fun. And just to let you know, if you were curious about your end goal for next November, that's what it looks like. And again, this information is available on our website. Of course, motivation. It is true though, that this is a very simple but clear truth. It's really about all of us together doing something. Quickly, the infrastructure of things. When we're, one of the first rules that I came to learn coming out of the military. So I retired from the Marine Corps and entered into this world of advocacy in Brevard County, that I was like, okay, well, I was kind of pulled into these leadership roles, but volunteers are a little different than Marines. And, but honestly, not really, because they came almost with a bigger heart, I'm talking about the volunteers, more passion, more noble attitude toward what needs to happen. Marines were easier to control because, they don't want to be court-martialed. But volunteers, what we have to understand is that volunteers also have a life. They have their own family obligations, work obligations. Life happens. Sometimes things will take you out of the advocacy picture for a while, and maybe you can come back in, maybe not. That's fine. So what we're embracing is the reality of a true volunteer, statewide volunteer organism that is basically dependent on volunteer time and energy and ideas. Okay, so that is the nature of what this is. We are definitely going to provide certain skeletal guidelines, logos, graphics, QR codes, talking points, some of the very clear things that are identifiable or identified with the campaign itself. But outside of that, how local county operations are managed are up to county operations, and whomever is able to step up to the plate everywhere on a local level. We're entrusting that they know how to, and they know how to do things. They know what they're doing. They likely have experience already. So what I wanted to do is kind of picture kind of like a mycelial network where the basic is we're connected with each other on a communicative level, and kind of grow as we continue to use those lines of communication and strengthen each other with information, opportunities, news of what needs to happen over here, but this area is fine. those types of communications are essential to what this is. Okay, so the infrastructure is that the campaign ensures that our lines of communication are always open, that the delivery of stuff, happens as quickly as possible. So we're talking like blank petitions, informational handouts, signs, T-shirts, the things that are associated with the campaign. If it can't be acquired on a local level as well. So all those things are happening at the same time. It's not going to be hierarchical as far as control and management. It's going to be based on these fruits, these mushrooms of local leaders who are able to organize, who are able to plan an event, have an event, and plan another event, but it's it's going to be chaos, but we're going to be here embracing that chaos while supporting it. Maybe that makes sense, maybe not, but that is the best way I can describe what this is. It's kind of like a biomimicry type of thing where we trust in the nature of what this is, and and things will take care of itself. So I'm sure you have questions about this concept. If you do, let me know afterwards or on email or whatever, but it is, I just wanted to express that it's not going to be coming from on high, this is the way things are done and how it has to be done. We're really trusting in and providing your creative licenses to come up with what needs to happen locally. Your businesses, your people, your communities, your groups, you're the duty experts in your own areas. So what needs to happen. We're here to support what that is. And of course, in this analogy or metaphor, the trees here are objectives. They're the signature goals that we're all striving to support, right? So continuing on that, our statewide mycelial network is based on, if it's just another way of looking at the same thing. You have your active efforts, you can have organized events planned out by organizations or co-hosting organizations or people, just individual capacities, planning and organizing these events. Those are the active efforts, like the sparks of what we're talking about here. Passively, you have your clean water businesses or any brick and mortar area establishment that are willing to put up a sign, keep a clipboard with blank petitions out, able to collect signed petitions and letting us know when to pick them up, those type of things of petition locations. That also is an essential part to this infrastructure. So you have your active and you have your passive type of efforts of signature collection, which are all very, very essential to the success of this. And finally, you have the individual efforts, right? People who aren't necessarily involved or don't want to be involved in, the above two, but have their own circle of friends, circle of clubs, and want to go out and get 30 in 30 each month, 30 signatures in 30 days, personal challenges, local challenges, whatever, floats your boat. But the bottom line is everyone in whatever capacity they might come in has a way to click in and help. And it not necessarily means that everyone has to go out and collect a signature. A lot of people might help out in the from home on their computer, looking up, for instance, local community events and let people know that. Storing signs because you're in an equidistant location to all of the ambassadors in your area, or storing signs or other materials, blank petitions, helping to deliver things from point A to point B. And if you're able to review and kind of perfect the petitions after they're signed, but before they go to the supervisor of elections, we need people to do that as well. So there is a place, there is a function throughout this effort that needs to be filled. So in whatever capacity that you feel like, that whatever's comfortable for you, we invite you to click in and contact your regional coordinator. And hopefully soon we'll have a county captain to also connect with, who's able to help you out on a more local basis. And we'll talk about county captains in just a bit. But looking at what our trees are going to be, you'll notice that this is, the general gist of where the regions are. Eventually, by March 1st, all of our networks, all of our efforts are going to yield this number of signatures by March 1st. So you'll probably see this graphic again on our website in our updates to let everyone know how far or how close we are or whatnot. And a quick note, we have been collecting signatures since April 1st, or not April 1st, sorry, April 22nd on Earth Day. It is unknown why the current verified number is not reflecting the number that have been submitted. So we're kind of like giving the supervisors of elections a little more time after elections to catch up with their, probable load of things to process. We also have ambassadors and folks out there that still have yet to submit them. So we're not working from ground zero to get here, but as soon as we are able, we are going to be having a closer and more accurate grasp of the number of petitions that we have at all times. Okay, so very quickly, what the infrastructure is in plain terms. It's going to be us at the bottom. We're here to support you. It's going to be primarily Floridians, like-minded Floridians, whether they're organizations, businesses, or people in this united effort for clean water. And then it's going to be led, the momentum of things will be led by these sparks that are created by people, by someone with a good idea. So let me just step through it real quick. Okay, so they're good ideas. Sparks are just connection points and just opportunities to create eye-catching events, to do one of three things or all of three things: raise awareness of what this is all about, recruit support, which is hugely important as well. And of course, our end goal is to collect petition signatures. And there's a litany of examples here, but I wanted to bring to note, Joan mentioned that Maya is going to be touring the 3rd through the 14th of January. She actually leaves the 14th. If you're interested in trying to hook into that, she'll be going pretty much everywhere except for perhaps the southeast of Florida, only because she had to leave a little early. But that is a spark. That is a statewide spark where she has national credentials. She wrote a couple books. She's leading a charge that on the national scape that is growing in not just attention, but credibility, because people are realizing, this is the only way forward. It's, we have to change our state constitutions because the laws, the statutes and the case laws, they're not doing the trick, bottom line. There are many reasons why, but anyway. So a big press event, for example, from that tour will be at Berry Law. The Center for Earth Jurisprudence is going to be hosting an event that has a panel of the folks that were involved in drafting the measure, and Maya, of course. And we're going to be answering all of the questions and concerns that, fellow lawyers have had, or policymakers, or people that are in the regulatory business or service that have concerns about how it's going to play out. We have answers for all of that. So what this is going to provide is a one-stop shopping opportunity for anyone else, like a residual. I'll call, anyone else have a problem with it, bring it here because we'll explain to you why it's not a problem. And that is going to be a press event. It's going to be a huge spark. And that from that will likely yield not only awareness, but hopefully support in Orange County. Jim probably needs a lot of people in Orange County to fulfill their goal by March 1st. And of course, to collect petition signatures. So it's the analogy of a spark is not just to create attention, but it's also to light a flame that continues off elsewhere. So when sparks occur, the opportunity will be announced, generally speaking now. And anyone who is available, who's close enough, it makes sense, and they'll, hopefully step up to the call and say, okay, I got this, or I can support somehow, but I can't lead the planning of it, or something. The point is communications is going to be key. And so it is incumbent on everyone here and able to participate in the Unite for Clean Water to ensure that communication line is always open. And so that's the active side of things. On a passive side of things, petition locations will be collecting signatures. Individuals will be welcome to carry out whatever effort that they're comfortable with to reach their goals. So those are the more passive, kind of like dependent on the person who is participating. But all of the above is necessary for what this is all about. And back at the campaign, we'll be talking with each other, sharing notes. If something comes in from a region that says, we should not be doing this, or we should definitely be doing this, it'll be shared with other regions and then implemented out accordingly. We'll be keeping our website updated. Our email is going to be provided to everyone who subscribed. Our social media is going to continue doing its thing. We're going to continue providing talking points, especially for any current event that pops up, to include if someone makes a public statement for or against, we'll be able to answer it in the same, hopefully the same public forum. And as you know, remember, Joe is our communications director. So if you have any questions about campaign communications, he's your go-to. On the logistics side, we're also going to be responsible for acquiring signs and materials and swag, and working with local folks who say, oh, well, the local print shop is actually a friend of mine and can get a better discount. So I'm gonna have my materials printed through them. It's like, awesome, great. Can we go through them? So those types of conversations are very helpful as well. And okay, so yeah, the campaign is here to ensure that deliveries are made, petitions are sent out, funding happens. We're going to continue getting, asking for funds from everyone that has an ear. And so that's kind of our job, while we ask everyone associated with a campaign to keep an ear out and let us know, if there's a certain business or organization or person that we should be asking specifically. And finally, the report and updates. It's very simple, nothing complicated. If you do something that week, whatever day of the week it is, if you collect a signature, 10 signatures, 100, 200, that's when you get triggered in your mind, oh, I should probably report this. And you don't even have to call anyone. All you have to do is find it on our website and go down to your region, click your region's report, and by the next Wednesday, you just fill in the blanks and then you submit and you're done with the report. So it's as simple as that. And by Thursday PM, we'll be, we'll have access to all of the input that comes through the reports, and we'll let you know by county how many signatures were collected within the last week and how many more is there to go. Okay, so that is the point of communication where we're going to have as real time, as up to date numbers as possible. And my final point here is, of course, if and whenever you want to talk to anyone, please don't hesitate to send an email, pick up the phone, whatever is best or preferred by you. Our contact information is available pretty much everywhere, but if you would like to get phone numbers, then I would ask that you email first your regional coordinator and connect that way. Okay, so wrapping things up, I wanted to just clarify what this is from your respective points of view. And if you are a nonprofit or a club or a similar group, or if you're just an individual wanting to do something active, right? If you're not a petition location, if you are wanting to do something active, then all you have to do is sign up. That's the main thing. Then make your plans, do your plans, collect signatures, come back and let us know how many you collected. Done. And then, it's that every, between now and February 28th, this is what you would have to look forward to. No one's going to be breathing down your neck or asking, why aren't you going, why aren't you meeting your goal line or whatever, but don't worry about it. Just, we know that, and we trust, that's the key part of this. We trust that you're going to be doing everything you can for this particular effort because of our shared passion, our shared dire need for clean water in Florida. The rest of this is really just, ask questions when you want, and then stay updated as much as you want. This is really up to you, literally. And then secondly, if you're a petition location, even simpler, you sign up, and then report on whenever you have signatures collected. You'll receive instructions on how to process them. And if you're feeling extra motivated, you're welcome to host and plan an event at your location or go in with other organizations and create something beautiful. But the bottom line is it's all up to you. So here's a very, very quick look ahead from where we are sitting right now. December, we know that it's not going to be a huge workaholic type of month. And we get that, no worries. It's actually a beautiful opportunity to talk about this with friends and family. Hopefully get their signature if they're a registered voter. Offices and organizations might have holiday parties that you can, introduce the idea to, or again, bring blank petitions. And of course, you have a few local events. Florida is beautiful in December and January and February, generally. You have parades going on. So it's up to you. There are some opportunities coming up that you can start planning for and thinking about now, and get with your regional coordinator and say, who else is in my neck of the woods? And I'd like to connect with them. And so we can plan something, and, where are our business cards? Let us have some blank petitions by a certain time, and we'll get on the horn and send you whatever you need right away. Next Tuesday, we're going to have a quick kind of a training type of meeting, but not so much training as a discussion of all the, various things that can go into county operations. Should any one of you wish to step up to more of a leadership role in the county level, I can tell you that regional coordinators would love you, would likely name their next pet after you if you are able to step up and relieve them of some of the burden that they've been dealing with. And I say burden, but I really mean it's just legwork. It's simple. It's really connecting dots, making calls, maintaining relationships, and ensuring that A and B points are connected at all times. But it does take time. And then the following Tuesday, we're going to have a book discussion with Maya's recent release of the Green Amendment, which is a beautiful book. You're able to get it on her website, forthegenerations.org. And I could go on with that, but I'm trying to wrap this up. In January, of course, Maya is coming into town, first 2 weeks of January. If you are interested in hosting, co-hosting, supporting an event when she comes through your area, please let us know sooner than later, because details are starting to solidify this week. And then finally, Creatives for Clean Water. I just wanted to give a shout out for that. It's a new kind of an outreach / community centric way for our like minds, the like-minded Floridians who are creative or appreciate creatives, want to get together and talk about this and think outside of the box creatively to continue the mission. So if you're interested, there's a Facebook group, Florida Creatives for Clean Water. And of course, February, we're keeping open right now because we're gonna see how things go and then let you know a little bit later. So that is it. Continuing reminders, last little words, takeaways. Create a spark, support a spark. Okay, that is what this is all about. That is our infrastructure. The main thing is, and our end goal is to grow our trees to our end objectives. And finally, throughout the process, from day one to the last day, don't forget why we're doing this. Okay, this is seriously something that is very momentous. And when we came up with the slogan, a watershed moment, it was cute and funny at the beginning, but it is actually true. It is historic, it is pivotal, it's systemic, newsworthy, and it is something that I feel very blessed and honored to even be a part of. So thank you for each of you coming tonight. And I think Joe is going to wrap things up before we start or after we start. I'm going to hand things over to Joe and then we'll continue.
So I just want to remind everybody that this amendment sells itself at a relatively small Cape Coral farmers market. Over the course of a handful of hours, 3 petition gatherers gathered 170 signed petitions. Up at an arts festival in Alachua County, it was 500. At a recent Bonnie Raitt concert, and she gave us a plug, and she allowed us to gather petitions in the lobby. It was hundreds. And there are people who are stepping forward, such as you have heard from tonight, that are just taking the ball and running with it. This is the sort of sparks that we hope to light, and this is the sort of stuff that will get things done. So we thank you for being here tonight. We thank you for all your past and future efforts. We all have a common goal in getting this thing passed. We all benefit from it. And please, if you have any other questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us, either to me directly or to Nell as well, or your regional directors. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here tonight.